So let's talk about teenage pregnancies for a second. New statistics by the Ministry of Health released on Tuesday this week show that in the last 1 year, on average, 98 new HIV infections were recorded every single week among adolescents of ages, get this, 10 to 19 years. This, they say, has been caused by the triple threat of new HIV infections, gender and sexual violence, and adolescent pregnancies, as Kenya remains the third highest country worldwide with teenage pregnancies, where 1 in every 5 adolescent women aged 15 to 19 are already mothers or pregnant with their first child. Now, I come from a community where teenage marriages and early childhood marriages are a thing.
Right.
And yesterday there was a young girl of 16 years who was getting married, and I went, and it was a whole thing, and I went with cops and I went with all these guys, and she said she couldn't leave. And I asked why, and she said because her dad is going to curse her, so she can't leave. And it really breaks my heart because, you know, where I come from, Cindy, Kwach and Mato, and they don't believe girls could amount to anything at all. Like, you should just be married. So from 12, 13, they look for a husband for you. By the time you're 14, 15, 16, 17, you're too old to get married. So when I see these statistics, excuse me, when you're talking about teenage pregnancies, it doesn't really shock me, but it really breaks my heart. Let me start with you, Cindy. As a mom,
Yes, it's really heartbreaking, but I'd like to take it back to the root cause, which is when there was the suggestion that sex education should be introduced in school. There were sectors that said, oh, it's going to teach our young girls and boys to be promiscuous. Look what's happening. I think it's very important to realize, just like in your culture, Amina, there are cultures where you cannot even mention a reproductive organ for a man or a woman. So your parents are not going to talk to you about sex. Your grandparents are not going to talk to you about sex. And then there are also communities where all the kids share a room with their parents. So when the parents are getting intimate, the kids hear and they try and reenact this thing from a young age. If we introduce, and I firmly and strongly believe that if we introduce sex education in school, we can teach young girls and boys about the birds and the bees, and they know if you do this, this is going to be a natural consequence. You'll find a lot of these people probably had sex once and then they're pregnant. So it is good to start training them early. The way we indoctrinate our children by having religion in school, we should also teach them about sex education so that they know about their body parts from a young age, because we have different cultures and we cannot assume that it is the role of the parent. We have people who are raised by their grandparents, we have orphans, we have single moms, and we also have family units where it is taboo to talk about things like that. So where will they go for this kind of education? The media, they will go on TikTok, start looking at things like that, sharing with their friends, and then they'll do, what was it called? Chamama Chababa.
Cindy, how old is your son, your firstborn son?
Firstborn is 12. He's watching now. Hey, Arthur. Secondborn is 4.
Okay, I was about to ask a question, so I will just skip through that. Have you had the conversation?
Oh, yes. I've had
Did you talk about like the bees and the birds? Or were you like, this is this, and this is this?
There was the part I did, there's a part his father did, and then now there's a mentorship course, and I'd strongly advise everybody to do it. It's called Boys to Men, where the boys are taught by men in the community, in the spiritual community, about things. You know, they have their own hush-hush kind of languages. But I enrolled him in that because there are things he won't tell me, he won't tell his dad. But when they are boys his age, they'll be able to converse. We need to create platforms like that. I
wish they would just be honest with us, because I'll just tell you. Because me, the boys to men I know are for like, close your eyes, make a wish.
Any boys.
Any boys. Boys to men. Guys should really enroll their kids.
All right, no, but for